so we're gonna play. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go straight into what we'll call the speed round this time, which will be a little bit longer than it normally is. Even though it's never a speed round, we always just bullshit about that. Oh, this one's gonna be fast, and then it's like 45 minutes long. But so we're gonna play a bunch of clips right now, so that you who are watching live right now know what we're going to be referencing to. So you can go ahead and just start with cut 5 and go down the list up until 9. Stop before 9.
There's groups of people that were never interested in politics that are now treating it the same way they treat sports. These guys are sports fans. I mean, that's really what it's like. It's like, this is my team. I'm on Team Trump.
Right.
You know, and these fucking
it's
pussies.
It's a brand. It's like, it's a corporation, man.
And they're showing up at these Berkeley rallies, and they're fighting with people now. Like, now you've got people responding. This is one of the real problems with the left. The real problem with these really hardcore lefties that are outraged and want to do something, and they want to be positive. So they want to shut down all these people like Milo that they think are Nazis, or Ann Coulter and all these people.
But
by
Hitler.
doing that and by having these gigantic protests and literally shutting down people communicating and talking, you invite people to resist that. And then you start these Antifa people who hit people on the head with fucking bike locks. You see, they found out it was a professor that was hitting people in the head with bike locks. And this is going to have people show up and want to hit you with something.
Indeed.
So you can go to cut 6 now.
Ann Coulter.
Today in Berkeley, protests are spilling into the streets. But tonight, many fear violence will erupt. The extreme left and right squaring off in bloody demonstrations in recent weeks. The kind of confrontation UC Berkeley was hoping to avoid. Canceling the speech scheduled for today by conservative firebrand Ann Coulter.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so this one's Michael Flynn.
Do you believe that Michael Flynn broke the law from either not disclosing these payments on his security clearance, or not getting permission for getting these foreign payments?
Personally, I see no information or no data to support the notion that General Flynn complied with the law, and that is, he was supposed to seek permission and receive permission from both the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Army prior to traveling to Russia to not only accept that payment, but to engage in that activity. I see no evidence that he actually did that.
And now, Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly says he is sad after losing his top-rated Fox News show amid a sexual harassment scandal. O'Reilly spoke yesterday for the first time since his ouster on his No Spin News podcast. The comments came as Fox News was hit with a new lawsuit.
Okay.
All right. So
now we'll get this going here. Shabuzi.
All right. So are we?
It's going
stuff.
Let's
go. All right. So obviously, we got a little bit to talk about. We've talked about these. We've talked about these topics before, but we'll go ahead and we'll start with the suppression of the free speech, which is really like a concerning
it's becoming
thing.
Pretty consistent.
And again, I'll go back to my whole I don't have a party to call my own. I also don't have a group of people to call my own, because you jackasses keep burning stuff down, and that's not
smashing people on the head.
That's not what this country is about. That's not what the Constitution is about. That's not what free speech is about. And if you want to have the right to go out there and to do your mass protests over the president that you don't like, then you should also be willing to have the conversation with somebody that doesn't agree with you on their viewpoints too. I don't know why we've gotten to such a point in this country where we can't listen to somebody who does not agree with us. Mitch and I don't agree with each other, as you know, a lot of the time. We don't hate each other about it.
I fucking hate you.
Yeah,
Are you kidding
right.
me?
No. I am sitting in his living room right now. It's not that big of a deal.
It's a trap.
It is. I'm never getting out of here alive.
That's right.
I just don't understand how we've gotten to such a point where We can't have the conversation with each other anymore. And what's worse is not only have we gotten to a point where we can't have the conversation, but as the MSNBC clip and Joe Rogan's comments just pointed out, we've gotten to a point where we turn violent about it now, and that's an issue. And Antifa is an issue, and masking yourself so that you can beat the shit out of somebody that you don't agree with, that's a problem, and it's a problem that we need to solve.
And the thing about that's really scary about Antifa and some of these other people is not that they've never existed before. Of course they have. There's always been these groups out here. The problem is that we're looking at the left, and they hate Donald Trump so much that they're willing to be complacent with these tactics in order to try to shut down what they dislike. So they are not the ones doing it. The general left are not the ones who are being part of the Black Bloc, which is donning this black attire, covering your face, and then going into these mobs. Same that we saw in Berkeley. It wasn't the students who were doing that for the most part. It was these people coming in from these other areas that were causing the violence. The problem was that they had a place for it. They had a safe space for their violence, and that's an issue.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the case in all of these issues. When you look at, go back 2 or 3 summers now to Ferguson, which we're very familiar with. The majority of violence in Ferguson wasn't from residents of Ferguson because, duh, why would you want to burn down the place that you live? It was from people who were coming from outside. The violence in Baltimore and in Dallas over the last 2 years wasn't people. It wasn't people from Dallas or Baltimore. It was people from outside of there.
The guy that shot people, wasn't he from like Alabama or something? Like he came in.
They're there because they have a point to prove, and this is how they're going to get their point across. Is they're going to be violent. Well, that's an issue. That's a huge issue. If you can't look. Ann Coulter is full of shit. Like I'm not. You'll never hear me say.
She did predict Trump would win.
She did, right, and you gotta feel bad for her too. You remember that Bill Maher clip?
I do. I felt bad just because she actually looked sad. Like she said it, and they just laughed in her face, and she looked actually like hurt. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
She also looked like you're probably right, and but here's the thing: Ann Coulter, like Michael Moore, like Milo Yiannopoulos, they're provocateurs, right? So. Did she believe that Donald Trump was going to win when she said that? Who knows? She probably didn't. She probably was just talking shit because it's going to get her in the news. I'm not going to support Ann Coulter in any way, shape, or form. I don't like Ann Coulter.
Agree with her.
You know what I would do if she was in front of me? If she was at my town hall, if she was at a college near me, I would
spit on her and hit her with a
right, hit her with a bike lock. No, I would debate her. I would have a conversation with her, and I would have a conversation with people like her. And the reason why is because how are we going to solve any of our problems that we have if you split the two sides down the middle, and now you're on the right and I'm on the left? We have to find some.
But I'm on the left. What? Oh wait, no, it's all messed up.
Right. People listening are like, what are they talking about? It's not healthy for us to just turn off people that we don't agree with. It is not healthy for us to not be able to have a conversation. And if your idea of a conversation is I'm going to show up with a tire iron and beat my point into you, that's a bad tactic.
Well, I think that when it comes to the left, they've always had this. I don't think that they've always had the moral high ground, but I think that they've liked to put on the theater that they've had the moral high ground. That's always been what they said. Well, we're not Republicans because they don't care about people. They pretend that that's kind of their shtick. And I think that this 100% negates that. You can't look at the left now and say they're above it all because they're not. They're complacent.
Yes, but I do think though, too. Like, I think that's a fair point in the way that you and I understand it to be. I think that, when you look at liberal policies versus conservative policies, there's an argument to be made that one side cares about poor people more than another side.
I think it's theater because I think that most of these policies they want to put in is short-term, feel-good policies that end up hurting the poor people down in the long run. But, we're doing this. It's like spoiling the children. At some point, you have to say, hey, you can't do that. I know you want this right now.
But at least if you have a short-term benefit versus a here's the alternative. We'll just cut taxes for the top earners in the country and raise taxes on the lower earners. It's hard to make your point that you give a shit about poor people.
Right. Well, obviously we're not doing that. So that's something that yeah. Obviously, if that was the case, that's one of the main reasons why I'm against a flat tax, because that's exactly what it does.
Right.
People say that it's fair, and in essence, they're right. It's right to say everyone pays 7%, so that's fair. However, the way that it's structured right now means that you are raising taxes on the poorest people. You are cutting taxes.
It's a
for the
great
richest
idea
people.
if you have Bill Clinton's surplus, but
yeah, but
if
we don't.
you don't,
So,
then it's not a good idea. So, but I
that's,
think
that's what's scary though is that, and they have come out a little bit, but I've seen. Whenever you look at, and we have a lot of people on our Facebook and whatnot that are liberals, and when you see people that I have known for years rejoicing that they have literally scared Ann Coulter, that she had to cancel her speech because of threat to her life, and they are happy about it.
And what the hell? Like, I'm not here. I'm not a fan, and we don't typically disagree on this. Not a fan of the police. Not a huge fan of the police, but. When the police say, we're not going to protect you in the case of violence towards you, that's a problem. What the hell are you doing? Literally just beating up black people? Is that literally all you're doing?
Taxing poor people?
So I didn't understand why that was the case. Why the police came out and said, well, we're stepping back. Well, what the hell, dude? That's why the college burned down in the first place. Job.
Yeah, and now they've said that, we've linked, and I don't know if that ended up being true or not. I know there was some reporting that the police, the chiefs of police and whatnot were linked to Antifa members and things like that, and that's why they were kind of picking their side. I don't know if anything ever came of that. But we do live in that time where things are very polarized, and people are picking sides. They're choosing political party sides over their jobs.
Here's an idea for both liberals and conservatives. If you have a problem, take your damn mask off to say it. Because if you have to hide behind a mask, then you probably don't have good intentions.
And you know that's why I've always been against Anonymous. I was like, Anonymous is just another word for no accountability.
Right. Well, Anonymous is an online terror group. Watch our Twitter get hacked.
No.
Right. But it is. Anonymous is an internet terrorist organization with no accountability and no clear-cut message. Like, what's your platform, Anonymous? I don't know, because this guy has a different one than this guy over here, and we're all just gonna attack shit at random. And
that's the same tactic.
Let's be real too, Anonymous. You're not that powerful. All you do is crash sites by getting a lot of people on there at the same time.
You put dick pics onto politicians' websites. Good job.
Right. But now I will say, was it Anonymous last week who put gay porn on ISIS?
I think so, and that was hilarious.
That was good. Good on you on good.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I'm never gonna say it isn't. But is it really gonna change the whole narrative? Are you helping out fight the war against ISIS?
Not
no.
really. No, you're not.
You're gonna get a lot of people who want to kill gay people upset, and they're probably gonna go out and kill more gay people or something. Who knows?
So,
that being said, it was still hilarious.
I don't think that you and I are going to disagree on this story here.
And it doesn't make any sense. Antifa and the anti-fascist America movement doesn't make any sense because they're totally doing fascist type tactics. And the Black Bloc is important because, like I said, it has ties back to the political movements in the 80s in Russia. And all it is just the tactic of anonymity. It's just dressing head to toe in black. You put something on, you bring pipes and whatnot, and then you go, and one person goes over and smashes them. And the big tactic they're using in the United States is mace. That's a big one that we see, is where they'll come in and they'll mace people. And then they just jump back into the parade of people wearing black, and you can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that 4chan is taking it upon themselves to unmask 1,000 Antifa members or something.
I saw that too.
Good on you, man. Just keep it going, because that's not like I said, when it comes to professors, and this isn't the first time. Like, I got a big issue with higher education and things like that. We can go into a different segment on, but finding out that it was that professor doing it. We have these other professors that have been on the news for just doing crazy things, having colleges depicting Trump with his head cut off.
Well, and I've told you, held in the hand of your favorite comic book hero.
Oh no, Captain America!
Captain America!
Captain America doesn't cut the head off a president, guys. That's not what he would do.
What?
He doesn't even kill the Red Skull, bro. And he's a straight up Nazi.
And if he did, he'd be reborn in the next issue. So, come on, dude. No, I don't.
Logan decapitates.
The problem here is that like we have a breakdown of like the societal norms, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to have a conversation with somebody that you don't agree with, and it should stay a conversation.
Well, they want revolution, and if you listen to some of these interviews with some of the liberal people that
people
are
going to have
doing
to
it,
die.
yeah, people are going to have to die. You know, there was the Antifa woman who got punched in the face by the neo-Nazi dude.
Yeah.
And they interviewed her, and they're like, well, and it's a big controversy on what happened or not during that riot. But they were saying that they were taking M80s, sticking them into glass bottles, and hurling them, basically making IEDs, and blowing up and hurting people. And there's been some reports saying that did happen, some saying it didn't. The guy said that he saw. There's a picture has her holding a green bottle. He said he saw her. He was going to do that, and so that's why he punched her. So they did an interview with her, and they asked her, well, are these tactics being used? And she never said no. She just said, well, the revolution is going to call for casualties. Like, there's going to have to be people who go down. No, there's no revolution. What are you guys fighting against?
Right. You're not.
Trump, I'm sorry, Trump's not that bad. Even if you don't like the guy personally, you don't like the way he talks, you don't like the things that he does, he's not doing anything that's overboard.
Now, to be fair, because you know that like there are people out there that are listening that support Antifa, and what they'll say is that, well, when Barack Obama got elected, the Tea Party became the party of revolution.
Right.
Yeah, but they didn't beat the shit out of you, and that's the difference. Like, did we like the Tea Party? No, neither one of us did. We didn't like the Tea Party because the Tea Party was full of shit, just as full of shit as Antifa is. The difference is Antifa is actually hurting people, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
They've got a place to incubate with it, and unfortunately, with the left right now, they have an area to incubate and to grow and to bring members in, because there are people who think, and I've seen them, they're friends of mine, and I see on Facebook, and they say things that are just this. To me, just completely outlandish. I don't understand it.
I just don't understand that. And look, let's take the violence away from it for a second.
Right.
Let's take Antifa out of the equation. Let's just talk about the breakdown on the left when it comes to free speech. I have tons of liberals on my Facebook page, and I won't say that like a huge percentage of them are like this. But I will say 30% of the liberals that I know or that I see on my personal Facebook page, of those people, 30% of them are these guys. These not violent. I won't call them violent,
right? But
extreme. Like, okay, so, and I told you this over the last couple of weeks when we weren't on, but I had a guy who posted an article that was with the caption, "Can we just take them off the air already?" Talking about Fox News, because the headline on the article was something about Fox News makes their black female employees arm wrestle in the boiler room or some shit like that. First of all, if that's true, put it on TV, get some ratings for that shit. People will watch that.
Right.
Secondly,
and you're gonna see people like me going, "That's not cool. Let's go against that."
Second point. That was posted from like Blogspot or some stupid shit.
Right.
So whichever liberal, if you're listening and you know that was you, you're an idiot. Like, you're absolutely an idiot. And here's why. Because if that was happening, even if it was happening, let's take that stupid story, sensationalized headline at face value and say that's exactly what they were doing. Every female black employee at Fox is forced to arm wrestle McFoley in the boiler room. So that's the story, right?
It's so dumb.
Okay, people should be fired. People should be reprimanded. You don't take the whole damn network off TV. Where the hell are we at when we're at a point where you can't listen to something that you don't agree with? And if you have to, you want it shut down. Fix yourselves, indivisible left, because it's a fucking problem.
Right.
And this is coming from a guy.
Curse word number 2.
This is coming from a guy who doesn't like to say fuck on this show.
Oh my God, number 3.
So fix it, because it's a huge problem.
Right.
And I don't think there's much more to be said about
right.
it. Like,
well, and we see another issue I think we have is that you get these sensational things, and that justifies the violence to them. I think that when we look at a point where both sides think we're right. I mean, obviously, as a Republican, I think Republicans are right on issue as a whole. And obviously on individual issues, I will come out and say, no, I don't think they're right on this and that, whatever. But as a whole, we all think we're right when we're coming into arguments. The problem is that the left has gotten to a point where they think that not only are they right, but they're righteous. And being righteous, it not only does it invalidate the right's position, it makes it evil. If you are of that position, you need to be stopped. And violence is then justified. And the scary part is that this snowballs. And this is the same ideology that the Crusaders used when they were killing people in Central America, and it's the same ideology that ISIS uses when they're killing people in the Middle East. It's that we're right, you're wrong, and not only are you wrong, but we have to stop you, and violence is an okay measure to resort to.
Well, and it's the same, like, you want to talk about the Nazi comparisons that we're never supposed to make. It's the same thing.
Actual Hitler.
It's the same thing, guys. The Jews.
Hitler was actually Hitler.
The Jews. Well, yeah, but the Jews were a problem, and there was a justification for why the Jews had to go to Grandma's farm, because the Jews are.
Is that Sean Spicer's turn?
No, the Jews are the cause of your problem. So we're going to alleviate this problem for you. That's what you're doing, liberals, and not all liberals, and it's not. It's not.
The problem is that they don't seem to be They don't seem to be condemning it.
It's the vocal majority that, or I'm sorry, it's the vocal minority that's being backed up by the silence of the minority on the left.
Well, it was like what do you call it? They had an interview with some guys from Berkeley, and they were like, hey, we're not about that. We're not about the people who are coming in here and they don't live here. And so then the guy interviewing him asked, hey, did you see that where the guy got hit in the head, top of the head? I mean, we're talking about the crown of the head. That is a kill shot. If you hit someone with a bike lock, a piece of metal, as hard as you can on the top of their head, you could kill them. And he was like, what do you think about that? And they said, well, was he a racist? And they're like, well, I don't know. Dude, he was just some dude. And they're like, well, if he was a racist, it's fine.
No, it's not.
It's not okay to kill someone.
Not okay.
And the guy is not doing anything. Like, if you've got, we have a justice system, folks, it's like Donald Trump. We can,
which we'll both, Mitch and I will both admit to you, sucks.
Yeah.
It does. Like, should George Zimmerman be in jail? Yeah, he should. Should O.J. Simpson be in jail? Yeah, he should. Yeah. Should Darren Wilson not have gotten acquitted and probably had a fucking trial? Yeah, he probably should. You don't have to count them all down, man. So should those things have happened? Yes. Is the justice system flawed? Yes, it absolutely is.
Right.
But it is more civilized than beating somebody with a stick.
Right. And we saw that the last time where they were taking people out with 2x4s. We saw that with what do you call it? With the mace, macing everybody.
Right.
And so yeah, it's disturbing, and I think that the bottom line is that I would like it to stop. I don't think it will, and I think that the problem is that right now it's so polarized that, like I said, it's got a place to incubate.
I think it will.
You're going to have to get people coming, because Bernie Sanders has come out against it. He said, no, absolutely.
I don't know that it'll stop while Donald Trump is president. I think it'll stop post Donald Trump.
Maybe.
I hope it
switches sides, and then all of a sudden my side wants to start beating the shit out of everybody. And these guys are the ones that have guns. So we'll see what happens there.
Republicans have guns.
They have the majority of guns, I would say.
Maybe. I don't know. We'd have to look at some voting patterns there. Yeah. But I think
it seems like that since the left is against having guns,
because rednecks like guns doesn't mean that they all vote for Republicans.
Yeah, I would think that would be the way that would fall.
I would think so too.
Who knows?
But
anyway, wrapping that up. I mean, let's hope that something changes. And I think it's going to have luckily the police have come out and outlawed masks, which. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Like, I get it, and I saw a couple of the arrests, and they're like, we're not doing anything, as he's walking down the street in full militia garb with a pipe in his hand.
Let's just say no matter what the scenario is, you probably shouldn't walk around with a mask on. I'm going to think something's weird about that. Like, I don't care if, like, you don't even have to be whooping ass or anything. Right. You could be standing in line at McDonald's and be like, can you tell that guy to take his mask off? Like, that's weird.
Well, there was a...
it makes me want to hit him.
There was a pro-gun guy that did that. He tried to flex his muscle or something to show his rights. And he showed up, he went into a police station in full garb with all of these guns. He was legally allowed to carry them, but he did that. And then, guess what happened? The cops show up and they're like, what are you doing? And they pull their guns out. They didn't shoot him. I don't think they shot him. But, like, you're stupid. Don't do that. He was white, yeah.
Because he definitely would have got shot if he was brown.
I can prove that all day that it's disproportionate where blacks get shot.
Right.
Way more.
You know that there's that group of people that every time we say that are like,
I know.
Shut up, Richard Spencer. Their white privilege exists.
They just look at the numbers and they don't adjust for a population. And
Right.
the fact of the matter is that whites are like 60% of the population and blacks are like 12%.
It's almost like what Republicans do with refugees.
I wouldn't make that comparison. But anyway, so wrapping it
I
up.
think ramping up Antifa and free speech. If you want the cliff notes of that segment, stop being jackasses. If you want to protest and show me your damn face. Have a little bit of balls when you're making your point, and stop beating people up, because if you do, you're not a part of my side, and I'm going to call for your ass to be prosecuted to the fullest every single time.
Right.
Because I shouldn't have to worry when I go somewhere and say that I don't like Donald Trump, or I don't like the wall, or I think something's up with James Comey or Jeff Sessions or Michael Flynn. I shouldn't have to worry about getting hit with a bat. Like, that shouldn't be the next thing that's going to happen.
Right.
So if that's what the left is going to do to the right, there's a huge problem, and I'm putting you on notice, left.
Yeah.
Fix it.
I'm not putting higher education on notice. Knock it off. Stop making Republicans and conservatives on campus feel like they're second-class citizens and that they have to be ostracized. Because
and there is something to be said, and we won't go super into this, but there is something to be said that it's not just the college kids at fault here. It's the professors who are teaching them that this is acceptable. It's the professors who are hitting people in the head with bike locks that are allowing this type of idea to spread.
Right.
And I will go to war with liberals all day long who want to tell me,
God.
oh, it's not as bad.
He's going to war.
It's not as bad as you're making it out to be. Yeah, it is. When somebody gets hurt because your dumbass doesn't agree with what they say, that's a problem. That is as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Figure it out. So that's Antifa. I think moving forward, we'll jump into
what was it, Michael Flynn?
Yeah. Michael Flynn.
That fucking criminal.
It looks like it. It's starting to look like it.
In his own words, he's definitely a criminal. So we'll have to see.
In Trump's own
see
words,
what happens.
too.
Yeah. So basically, what was the new thing that came out?
They basically said that
It looks like he's at least guilty of not disclosing that he was getting money from multiple sources, some of which being Russian banks and whatnot.
Right, and he was warned prior to getting those payments that he shouldn't get those payments. Like he was, because he did check into it, and he was told, I can't remember which congressional, and I'm sure they probably haven't even released the name of who talked to him.
Right.
But he was told by some committee.
Carter Page, oh my God!
Right. Not to, you don't even know who he is yet. We've been doing this show for 12
I know
weeks,
him.
And,
he's the guy.
But, the fact of the matter is, Michael Flynn was told, you're probably not allowed to take these payments. And if you do take these payments, you need to disclose all of this information before receiving them. He didn't do any of those things. And for that, it looks like he could end up in jail for about 5 years is what they were talking. Yeah,
damn.
That's what they were talking.
Lock him up! Lock him up!
So now what I would be interested in moving forward is, why did he get those payments? What were those for? Like, blah, 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 blah. What are the details there? Because depending on what they were, that could just be bad for Michael Flynn, or it could be bad for more people, depending on what was going on.
You gotta see, because the thing about politics is there's money getting thrown around everywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean, and there is a lot of that pay for play, which it definitely looks like that's what that would be. We all assume that when you get money, you're giving money to people, you're expecting something out of it, depending on what that is.
Based on that development and the fact that he asked for immunity, something's up.
Yeah.
And we'll see how far up that goes, because if that is connected to I think Mike Pence is clean. I think if it's connected to Donald Trump or Paul Manafort or Steve Bannon, you could have an issue, and you and I could be having an impeachment conversation in the future.
I don't think that you're going to connect Donald Trump to any of that. I wouldn't be surprised if Bannon somehow got, because those are the type of people
Bannon, you have a connection with Trump.
Yeah, but not necessarily. They have to actually be connected and talking it out and doing it.
So you have to find something there.
I don't see Donald Trump or Mike Pence being. They strike me as people who are they're basically just gonna play it. They have, especially Donald Trump, because he seems like a kind of a book wide open character where it's just like he's gonna tell you.
I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid, bro.
The guy literally got on TV and said, "Let's kill the families of the terrorists." I don't feel like he's hiding too much of what he wants to do. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Not too much of what he wants to do. He might be hiding what he did.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, but and we already know that Michael Flynn lied to Mike Pence once. So, and Mike Pence is a straight-laced politician type guy. So, I don't see him being involved. Bannon, we'll see, because there's
Manafort, I would say almost yes.
I don't know. I don't know
Right.
enough about that guy because he was only on the scene there for a few weeks or so.
Right, that's what Trump wants you to believe.
Well, that's what happened.
He was actually there for a few months. So,
Okay, well, even so, a few months.
He's like, I don't even know. I think I saw him on a Tuesday once, and
Right.
like I don't even know that guy. Oh, that's weird. No!
Oh, that was the one. Sorry, guys, the Blues are playing, and let me know. So, but regardless, so we'll see what happens with him. Like I said, all of a sudden, Steve Bannon's disappearing as well. So we'll have to see where that goes.
The liberals should be super upset about that.
Yeah. Well, it makes it seem like maybe there was something going on between the two of them because he said the only reason why Bannon was on the defense council was because basically be a babysitter for Flynn. So they're working together and doing things. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Right. Yeah, and Steve Bannon, who pretty much won the election for Donald Trump.
Kellyanne Conway had a lot to do with that.
Probably had
President Bannon.
no conversations with Trump about anything that was going on between him and Michael Flynn. So
I don't know. Did Podesta have all those conversations with Clinton?
I don't know. Was he running a rapey train out of a pizza parlor? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think anyone was running a rapey train out of a pizza
I
parlor.
don't know. People got shot over it though. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Michael Flynn's an idiot.
Yeah, Michael Flynn's an idiot, and he does look like a shady.
He does. Every
shady
time I see
mofo.
the guy, I'm just like, you're up to something, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
So I mean, that's all I got to say about.
speaking
Michael
of
Flynn.
rapies, talking to
Oh, right. That moves us right on. What a good transition into
Look
Bill
at
O'Reilly. Billy O, what happened, man? You've been raping people for like 20 years, and like everything was cool. Fox always had your back until you tried to grab their front. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, so basically, for anyone who doesn't know, which I'm sure everyone knows at this point, but Bill O'Reilly is no longer on the Bill O'Reilly. What was the show called?
It was the
Show?
O'Reilly
Factor.
Factor.
Yeah, and which kind of sucks because I didn't think that Bill O'Reilly was the worst out of the whole pundits on that show.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly just sold out though a long time ago. Like
Yeah.
I never took Bill O'Reilly seriously. I did for a long time, but I feel like over the last decade
He kind
or
of
so,
phoned it out. Well, he became a more independent in his own thing, so he would stand against the Republicans sometimes. He would
Maybe
stand
I
for
feel like
them.
he just said what he got paid to say though. Like
Well, I could see that too.
he just
He
like.
didn't have any zest to it. Like he
No.
was just kind of like, all right, I'm just here.
But let's talk about what happened there. I mean, obviously, Fox is having some issues right now with Roger Ailes, who got let go, and
Bill O'Reilly.
and Bill O'Reilly, both over sexual harassment. And what it looks like is it looks like the Murdochs, who Rupert Murdoch wanted Bill O'Reilly to stay on. His son, who I think is the CEO or CFO or something like that, his son is really high up, was the one who made the call to get rid of O'Reilly. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, how can you keep a guy on who you have literally, as the network, settled $25 million worth of sexual harassment?
Right.
You know,
At some point,
like at some point, you got to cut the cord and be like, dude,
Sandusky, you know,
you're costing us a lot of money.
you know what you're doing.
And you're making us look bad.
Right.
It's not.
No, I haven't looked into
the time
all of the
of Ron Burgundy anymore. You can't slap asses in the
Right.
office.
Now,
So
did you go in and see what exactly he was being accused of? Because I know that
I
they
didn't.
tried to hit Hannity and she had to walk it back
Mhm.
because apparently all that happened with him is he asked her out and she said no, and then that was that.
Right.
But she was trying to play it like the simple fact of asking and she didn't want
No,
it was
but
the sexual
I would
harassment.
assume because Fox has settled out so much money that something was
Probably a few of
happening.
them that are real.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And I know that some of them are shady, like Bill O'Reilly asked a girl out and she says no, and suddenly she's not reporting as much anymore, or something like that,
Right.
which is unethical.
Well, and
obviously.
that was the thing with Roger Ailes too. Roger Ailes was basically saying like, "Hey, you want to advance your career? Meet me at a motel."
Right.
And then if you don't, you're not on TV anymore. Like, yeah, it's time to start cleaning up Fox News.
Right.
So,
Now, apparently they put in Tucker Carlson
yeah,
into his
who's
spot.
a douche? He's a douche.
His ratings were exploded.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure they
that was-
were. People
Yeah.
like him, but he's a douche.
I don't know anything about him really. I just know he wears a bow tie and he's a ding dong.
Yeah.
So apparently that's a good move. Apparently people were not even enjoying Bill O'Reilly as much anymore anyway.
No,
Or they wanted a fresh
Tucker
face.
Carlson is the fresh face on Fox, and I get it. Like, he's the young, witty guy. He's just like, sometimes he's all right, sometimes he's not. He has had good interviews, but he's also had shit where I'm just like, dude, cool it with the sarcasm and just ask the questions.
Yeah, I've seen that where it's like,
I don't-
well, that's the big thing now on social media is, they'll have an interview between Democrat and Republican, and then Republicans will go, he destroys him.
Right. What
And
are
then
you,
the left
what are
goes,
you, the
"He
white Don
destroyed
Lemon?
him."
Like you need to take shots while you're asking the question.
Right.
Don Lemon, who made it,
God, Don Lemon sucks.
who made himself famous off My City's back. Why don't you
Right.
come up here and like push your chest into the chest of a police officer and then talk about how you're getting shoved back in Ferguson?
Help me. Yeah,
The only reason you're famous is because you bullied the cops and made our shit worse. So, like, that's the thing, too, that the media doesn't ever realize. And I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent because Don
What are
Lemon...
you, Donald Trump? You got a problem with the media?
No, Don Lemon and his whole, like, oh, I'm going to get in the face of every cop in Ferguson so that I can make a name for myself. Here's what the media doesn't care. Yeah, it worked, but here's what they don't care about. You get to leave. I don't. I live in St. Louis. So when you stir all this animosity up between the community and the police force, I still have to live with it. You get to go back to Washington, D.C. or New York or L.A. or wherever you're shooting from, you're stationed from. But you're screwing up shit for the people of these towns. So I have a personal grudge against Don Lemon. A, because he's a bad journalist, he's a bad reporter, and he got famous off my back and by putting my city in a precarious situation. So, I don't. But Tucker Carlson strikes me the same way a lot of times, where he'll ask a question to like a liberal or whoever, and he's just snarky. And
yeah, it's just like, dude, come on.
Dude, I just don't care about that. I don't care.
Yeah. But so I think O'Reilly's gonna be fine. He's gonna put out a new book probably.
He's already back podcasting. So what was funny actually is as I was going through stuff the other day, I was trying to make sure that we were up on iTunes and that we were ready to go for this week. Make sure that all of our outlets that you could pull the TDAP from. And one of the podcast catchers said, I can't remember which one it was, but the description of the podcast was like, podcast, sports, media, news, politics, Bill O'Reilly. And like, just preemptively letting you know, you can still catch him here. He's still, like, if you like rapey guys, we got him right here. So apparently we probably share a network with Mr. Rapey Magoo over there. Somewhere, somehow. And now the last one...
It's not just the right who does it. I mean, I know that there's been a bunch of people on the
only
left
Republicans
that have
rape
gotten
people.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Now some feminist out there is going to get into their crisis mode and get righteous and start killing Republicans because they know it.
It's like, they're the only ones who rape people.
Oh my God.
So one last thing that we didn't play a soundbite for, but before I went into surgery 2 weeks ago, my intent was to just post like a little 5 to 10 minute video on the topic before going into surgery. I didn't get a chance to do that, and since it popped back up this week, and it's a little bit relevant again, I want to go ahead and talk about Mr. Dow and his yanking off the United Airlines
I have to go home.
All right, right. So here's the thing. The reason it's back in the news is because he's settled.
Did he?
He settled for an undisclosed amount of money, and let me tell you, Mr.
More than the
Dow,
800 you offered him.
I am so mad at you for settling because here's the thing. Like, and I knew, and so I would
settle
when I was at
break
work.
My face.
Here's why I imagine he settled. Dude's 70 years old. You want to take this into some like judicial litigation and whatever, it's going to take 10 years. You're going to make your millions of dollars, but you're going to make it when you're 80, and what good is that?
You'll be dead.
But you all remember the story. We'll go through it. United Airlines overbooked, but they didn't. They just needed their pilots to get on a damn plane. So they decided they were going...
Fair, they really did need those pilots on the plane. Like they were, because there are laws that say you can only fly for a certain amount of time. These were the pilots that were going to pick up after they had landed and continue the flight. So literally, if they didn't get on, they weren't going anywhere.
Right. Here's the thing. No, because they didn't need to fly until the next day.
That's what I heard. I heard that, but it was going to fly into the next day, and then they were going to land.
Gotcha.
And then, so like they were like, this isn't an option. We have to get these guys on this plane.
Here's the thing. Put them in a damn rental car. Put them on a Delta flight.
Yes.
Your mistake isn't my emergency. So when you come on here and you try to lowball me and tell me that you're going to give me vouchers for a airline that I'm never going to use again, then that's not good enough for me. And when you randomly select me and then beat the shit out of me and drag me off the flight, we have a huge problem. And if I'm Mr. Dow, now granted, I'm not 70 years old, I'm young enough to be able to go through the 10-year battle for this money, but I'm not only suing United Airlines, I'm suing the TSA, I'm suing the Chicago Police Department. Like, you're gonna come in here and you're gonna beat the shit out of me because I bought a ticket. So every single plane ticket is a lottery? Like, are you kidding me? That's unacceptable. And here's why I'm mad that he settled. I understand why he settled. I get it, and I don't think it was a bad decision for him. The reason that I'm upset that he settled is because there are implications for everybody here.
Yeah.
This policy needs to be changed.
They've already changed
bullshit.
it. Now they said that they're going to offer, I think it's $10,000 if they have to remove you from it. They will no longer use police to do it. They will only use, people there, and there will only be. Like, if someone gets violent, you're going to have to do that.
Right.
But the guy wasn't getting violent,
Right, and then for United to come out and damn his character, like, after...
They just reaccommodated his face, dude. That's all they had to do.
Oh, my God. First rule of Flight Club is don't talk about Flight Club.
The reaccommodator.
Right. Just unbelievable. So I just wanted to, I have had that rant in me for 2 weeks. And I was so mad that I didn't get it in before my face got all cut up. So I was actually kind of happy. I was only happy that he settled in the sense that I was going to get to bring it back up this week. But come on, United. First of all, people, don't fly United. That's bullshit. I'm for all my non-listeners, I'm throwing you under the bus. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. Totally mishandled. That policy needs to absolutely be changed. People overbooking Delta, and the greatest part of that whole thing was 3 days after the shitstorm when the CEO of Delta came out and was like, "I don't see what the big deal is." Like, dude, shut up, shut up. Like, this is finally getting pushed under the rug, and now your dumbass is gonna come out and be like, "We overbook all the time." Don't. That's stupid. That's absolutely dumb as shit. So I think that's probably all I needed to say on United, but.
Right.
I'll be damned if I didn't want to say that about United. I'm a guy who hates flying anyway.
I don't like it. It freaks me out.
My anxiety is through the freaking roof.
Yeah.
So if I'm flying, I'm already terrified. If you're not whooping my ass and dragging my bloody ass off the plane, oh my God, that's a traumatizing event for me. I'm never coming back from that. So, so I don't know. That's United. Where you can fly on the Black and Blue Rhapsody Express. So anyway, I think that's pretty good place to call it for episode 12 though.
Yeah, we got about 3 minutes till the Blues game.
Right.
Let's go Blues.
Right, let's go Blues. Which well, let me piss off all my my localites. I'm a realist.
Don't say it.
I'm a realist.
Don't say it.
I'm a realist. So if this year isn't the year, look at me, Facebook Live. If it's not the year, go Connor McJesus, because I like that. Those Oilers are so fun to watch this year. Don't get me wrong. I want my Blues to win the Cup. But I've been wanting that for the 30 years that I've been alive, and it hasn't happened yet.
We just need our big, beautiful wall
named Jake
Allen. It's so great.
Right? You know how many, there are probably hockey people listening that are going to be like, we got 2 weeks and then we get to shit all over this conversation. So,
where are the Blues now?
But all I'm going to ask you,
with the trophy
all I'm going to ask you is, if you are going to come online and you are going to debate me about hockey, don't resort to calling me a faggot, because if you do, you're probably going to lose the argument and you're just going to make yourself look like a jackass. So, so that happened, and that guy is probably sitting in the corner crying right now because I had to show him how to really win an argument. So, but anyway, I think that wraps it up for week 12. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all of our latest content. The episode 12 will be available, and all of our future episodes will be available now Tuesday mornings.
YouTube hopefully on Monday evenings.
Okay, yeah, and so you can catch us on iTunes, Google Play shortly. There's again, I mentioned at the top of the show, there may still be a couple issues there, and then we will have some exciting news coming up in the next few weeks to a month. Another little platform that we're working on. So. That pretty much wraps it up for the week. Don't forget to follow us. The YouTube channel will try to get up on Monday nights, as Mitch said,
or as they happen. We'll have to see.
Right. Yeah. We'd like to. Again, we've talked about it before. We would like to be shooting these throughout the week and dropping at least, even if not the full segments, just little tidbits, so that we've got things going.
Keep it fresh.
Definitely, if you're on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page and you like what you're hearing, go over to our Twitter page. Twitter is a new thing for both of us. We're both older than the Twitter generation.
I'm not a great tweeter.
Right.
I'm trying to fix it.
I don't know how the freaking 70-year-old MFer that's running the country tweets every 3 seconds, and I'm just like, oh, I forgot it exists.
Right.
But go follow us on Twitter. We got a bunch of funny hashtags over there for you, and yeah, I think that about does it. So feel free to follow us, and as always, we're gonna leave you now with the alternative fact of the week. Thanks for listening.